And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and always providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate plans, tax plans, family law, and your insurance. Today here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, we're going to help you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show. We want to educate, entertain, enlighten, but most importantly, we want to engage with you in an effort to help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Save our hotline number in your phone because at some point you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. And bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available for you on our website at consumerqb.com. I implore you to go there and hit the contact form. It's going to reach out to myself and my team. We're going to make sure we answer any questions you may have. Lots of different areas that we can help you with. It's intelligent talk radio, and we don't care if you're climbing that corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We're going to help you win. And let's go around the horn now, make our introductions. Back in studio, attorney Joe Cairns. Welcome back in, sir.
Joe Cairns with Cairns Law. My wife and I own our own family law firm over in Largo.
Yes, awesome. Long time no see, man. Been a little while.
Yeah, I think it was
been working.
Christmas.
You've been busy, huh?
Yeah, which doesn't bode well for the rest of society, but works for me, I guess.
Yeah. So family law, we're going to talk about, family law, divorce situations, amicable divorce, hopefully it's not an oxymoron these days. We can make it more of an amicable divorce when it comes to that. Also in studio, Eunice Halstead. We're going to talk about auto insurance today. Eunice Halstead is our property casualty insurance expert, auto expert, and also talk a little bit about cybersecurity at the end of the show as well. Welcome in.
Thank you. Nice to be back again.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for coming in. Absolutely. So we're going to focus more on auto today.
Yes, we're going to talk about automobile. We're going to talk about why everyone's rates are going up and how PIP works a little bit so that people understand that whether they are properly insured or not.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Making sure we, kind of help you think about those things that you may not think about on a daily basis, helping you be more aware of things that you may not consider. Avoid a lot of the commission-based advice that's so prevalent out there in our community. I want to give a shout out to Mary Maids, our official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, is Mary Maids Cleaning Service. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties. Satisfaction guaranteed by Mary Maids. Relax, it's done. They are the recipients of the Women's Choice Award, America's most recommended cleaning services is Mary Maids, and we want you to reach out to them and support our show partners. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, and they're going to take them up on some special incentives there. All right, so let's jump right into it. We got attorney Joe Cairns back in studio, family law, and it's an interesting part of our society. We've got over 50% of the families now that are broken up by divorce. What are you seeing out there?
Well, one of the things is, Florida's a pretty transient place.
Yeah.
Many of us aren't from here. I'm not from here. I'm originally from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing, particularly with the levels that the divorce rates are at, and the families that have children, is that if someone wants to relocate, that can become a debacle. Because you could be taking someone who gets to see their kids, almost daily, and now they're going to see them potentially Christmas. Depending on how far they move, it could be only these major holidays in summer, or if it's even closer. Like even if you're dealing with Gainesville, you could potentially have a child in a car for a while, and you have to look at all these different factors. And the sad part is, they're impossible to settle. If someone's moving to Kentucky, I can't argue. Okay, well, instead of Kentucky, how about we go South Georgia?
Right.
Yeah, it's Kentucky or bust. That's basically what it comes down to. So those have been a little bit more prevalent. And they're usually prevalent around this time because people move in the summer because that's when school's not in session.
Right.
If you have real little kids, then it can happen pretty much at any time. But the courts also give us even quicker time. The statute says if you need a temporary, we'll try to get it as close to 30 days as possible.
Wow.
If you want a trial, 90. And a gentleman called me and goes, I just got into a PhD program in France. Fantastic. When you leaving? End of August. Thanks
Wow.
for the heads up.
Wow.
So we had to get that moving real fast.
Man, that's a challenge. I can't imagine anything worse than, be in a situation where you're getting a divorce and the wife or, the other party wants to move 3 states away and you're very limited on your children's, seeing their children. That's a tough situation, man.
Yeah. And most of the ones that come my way are legitimate because the court is well cognizant of the fact that the child's relationship with the other parent is going to have some effect almost regardless of how we handle the time sharing.
Right.
So a lot of people come to my office, well, I want to move because I want to go see my family and I want to be closer to my family. A lot of times it's not going to be good enough. If you get an offer a job making a lot more money,
right,
that usually is a better, even though it's purely financial. And then there's other situations where maybe the other parents kind of just dropped off the grid.
Right.
And they're like, well, if they're not going to be doing the time sharing, why do I have to abide by all this? Why can't I just go to where I'm more comfortable? So it becomes this concept of the best interest of the child versus like this freedom of movement type of thing.
Wow.
And it can be a tough balance.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that's a tough scenario to play out. So is that a part of the factoring decision with the judge? Is that if the let's just say, for example, the wife, the Tampa Bay based couple, the wife gets a better job 2 or 3 states away or back in her hometown, she's making more money there. Would you, most of the time, is the court going to say, okay, fine, take them?
Well, there's a list of factors.
Okay.
Like there's 22 factors that they deal with just a regular divorce. And there's a little bit less, but they look at, what kind of time sharing was the other parent having? So if this other parent's really involved, it can be tougher.
Right.
If the job is kind of we'll call it a pipe dream. I'm going to be making the same, but I have the potential to make all this extra money.
Right.
How much are we able to really establish that this is really going to happen?
Right.
How much is guaranteed here?
Right.
Because if we're going to move the child away from the parent purely on a chance,
right,
the court's not going to like that. So really, you have to go, and every case is different. You have to go through it, kind of line by line, what was going on, what's about to happen, and then how can we minimize the impact on the children here.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've talked about in the past is the advent of the internet, social media. Social media comes into play a lot with the family law side when it gets into a situation of he said versus she said. How are the acts? How are the exes acting? Are they putting the children in harm's way? What type of a lifestyle they live? Are you seeing that where Facebook, people just forget, oh, I forgot I posted that?
It's the first thing I look at.
Yeah.
When people call me and then I see like the consultation on my calendar, I put their name into Facebook.
Yep.
And then you just run it. Sometimes you can find them, sometimes you can't. And then if it's posted publicly, like I can see it, I've never met you before, that's bad.
Right.
But you can make it as private as you want. There is a friend out there that will be more than happy to print it out for somebody else.
Right.
So anything you put on there can and typically will be used against you.
Yeah.
So it's all the time.
It's almost like the Miranda rights. This, anything you post on Facebook can and will be used against you.
And years ago, we had this guy. He was some sort of actor, but he had this like Facebook persona.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted to use the persona as that was actually him.
Oh.
And that really wasn't the case. But then you're dealing with context. You're going from a funny platform, you have what you believe is your audience, to a very dark courtroom with very serious people that are then going to take it line by line and say, what did you mean by this?
Right.
Yeah.
So how does the court see that, for example? By the way, if you just joined us, we're talking with attorney Joe Cairns here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, family law attorney here in Tampa Bay, divorce attorney. And so how does the courts see that? How do they view that?
If you can truly establish that this is all in jest, that the people that are his friends that are able to view this, then so long as it doesn't have the impact on the child, sometimes that's even very difficult. But sometimes it even depends on who your judge is. I mean, they're still human beings. They have certain sensibilities that might be different from place to place.
Right.
Certain things might fly in one courtroom that aren't going to fly in another. It's
right.
Like, there's a mediator named Stuart Umbarger who'll love that I'm using his name.
Yeah.
He's over in Brandon. He always tells every client before every mediation, he says, I can give your case to 6 different judges. How many different results do you think you're going to get?
Right.
6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, that is that, intrinsic. Wow. So when it comes to divorce, what kind of advice would you have to people? They're right now, they're fighting, they're thinking about divorce, they're considering divorce. What would you be your direct advice to folks like that in that situation?
You need to see somebody, an attorney, like immediately, because one, your anxiety is just going to build just thinking about it. The reason why anything makes us anxious, taking a test, a big client interview, something like that, is because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. Talking to an attorney, and most of them do for free consultations,
right,
will eliminate some of that anxiety,
right,
and it'll prevent you from, for lack of a better term, stepping in it,
right,
along the way. So you can start playing these things. Maybe the conversation needs to change with your spouse.
right.
Is it a communication issue? Maybe therapy is the best way to go.
Yep.
If communication is completely broken down, then okay, you're going to have to talk about the kids. Don't bring up money if that's the thing that's going to just light the match.
Right. Yeah. Focus on a few different areas, segment the areas that you can focus on at the same time. All right. Excellent. More from attorney Joe Cairns when we come back. Also, Eunice Halstead in studio as well. And we have our feel good story of the week is coming up as well. And we might talk about the best summer vacation destinations in America, according to the U.S. News and World Report. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at ConsumerQB.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, giving a shout out to our friends at Replenish IV Solutions in South Tampa. Say hello to Steve Gunnan and his wife Lisa and the team down there. Gandy Boulevard in South Tampa, just close to West Shore there. These are really cool. You can go in there, you can get hooked up with a IV, and it's going to shoot all types of great vitamins into your body, vitamin B, C vitamins, different packages. They got the fatigue fighter, a weight loss, detoxification, anti-aging, health and wellness, different types of platforms that they have. Amino acids and extras you can add on as well. So they've got a licensed team as well. And Replenish IV Solutions, they do a great job. I go down there at least once a month, every couple of weeks maybe. We went down there last weekend with Ken Shamrock was in town. We got an oil change, so to speak, there. Some nice Replenish IV Solutions in South Tampa. All right, got a hot listing on Clearwater Beach. This property is 1370 Gulf Boulevard, unit number 401. 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, Bella Rosa condo right on Sand Key. It's $1.175 million listing of Platinum MVP Realty. So check out Platinum MVP Realty for all of our real estate properties. And the photographer of choice for the Consumer Quarterback Show is Fabre Frameworks. They do a great job on all of our real estate properties. And coming up, we have a Husky rescues woman who injured herself while hiking alone in Alaska. Interesting story there. And in studio today, we've got attorney Joe Cairns, family law attorney, and also Eunice Halstead as well coming up as well. So, Joe, I want to go back and talk a little bit more about, the process of a divorce. The process of a divorce. There's different aspects. In the beginning, it's the emotions are high. Maybe one of the partners cheated on the other, and it doesn't matter in Florida, right? It doesn't matter who did what. No fault state. So I think the key thing to think about is, if there's kids involved, let's try to be as amicable as possible. Keep the emotions. Try to stay matter of fact as much as possible. And basically fill out the forms. You're going to fill out the income forms. It's going to break down. It's going to say, okay, you're paying alimony or child support. And try to keep it as simple as possible.
The actual process is once you file the actual petition, the other side, once they're served, has 20 days to do it. Okay. There's some financial disclosure that has to go back and forth. In the meantime, discussions can be occurring as to what should occur. The faster we can get some semblance of a parenting plan, isn't it? Even if it's not the one that's going to be the end, we should do that.
Yep.
So then everyone tries to get the mediation. We try to get some sort of deal done there. If that doesn't work, then the courthouse doors, so to speak, open. And then if we need a judge to decide it, that's when it's going to happen. I mean, there can be, the biggest problem I see is sometimes there are just fundamental divides in what everyone thinks should happen.
Right.
And like my least favorite person in anyone's divorce is their best friend.
Right.
Who potentially went through it, and they have their ideas of, well, this is what I got, and this is what I have happened. And that's a huge issue.
Yep.
Because they're talking to me and they're thinking somehow that I'm just kind of laying down, I'm putting the swords down. Because when you have someone who's like, I want someone who's ultra aggressive.
Yeah.
That's just, this isn't a jury. I'm playing to the person that I've played in front of hundreds of times potentially. That person has a particular way that he likes things to go. I've been in that courtroom, you haven't. So take some tips on as to how we need to present this. We go in there guns blazing and think, well, this person's not going to facilitate a relationship with the other parent. He just wants to go to war.
Yeah.
And that's the worst word you can use.
Yeah.
You use the word war in the courtroom, you're just going to say, well, this person doesn't have his head straight.
Yeah. They're acting, they're basically acting in a way where they're posturing for, a situation that's not going to be good. It's
and then the absolute opposite of that is, okay, we want everyone to get along. Is if we do have to go in front of a judge and do this big long trial, we're going to start playing the hits. It's going to be, well, he did this on January 22nd. Isn't that bad, Your Honor? Could you trust him with the kid because he did that on January 22nd?
Right.
And then they just start going through it. Now, there's major issues like drugs and those types of things can be real big issues.
Right.
But usually it ends up just being like, let's just load up the mud and just start slinging at each other. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, we're like, oh, by the way, we want you guys to put that aside. This is what we're going to do as far as how you're going to raise your kids for the next, 10 to 18 years, depending on the age of the child.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big challenge when you look at that. The courts, We've had immigration attorneys on the show recently talking about Trump's plan and the enforcement, the new administration enforcing more. The immigration courts, as I hear, are backed up like 2 or 3 years out. The family law courts, they're not as backed up. Is that right?
They are. I mean, it depends on some population density and the amount of judges. Like Hillsborough, if you're in the Tampa courthouse, I believe there's 7 or 8 judges for family law in that courthouse. Then there's another 2 that are over in Plant City. And Clearwater has 4. St. Pete has 4. Just my experience is that it's tougher to get in for hearings sometimes in Clearwater and Tampa because of the density of the population. For some reason, St. Pete has been a little bit easier to get in. Sometimes it can be the climate of the attorneys. There are, I'm not going to go over where, but there are more litigious places.
Right.
And in those places that the courts are dealing with and they're bogged down with minutia.
Right.
I mean, there are things that I'm like, we don't need to go to court over, that some other attorneys be like, well, we need to keep pounding the nail here.
Right.
And, the judges they're kind of in a position where, okay, is it warranted? Yes. Could have been figured out differently? Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why if someone's focusing on family law, we know those other crazy people that do this for a living too.
Right.
And we're used to interfacing with each other.
Yeah.
And there's always those select few that you're like, oh, it's that person.
Yeah. You see it coming. You just kind of know it's coming. Yeah.
And the client's like, what does that mean? It means it's going to be more expensive and probably a little more stress ridden.
Same thing, sometimes with real estate, you get those different types of dynamics playing, with the real estate space.
Oh yeah. You got the one that's like, we're talking about what appliances we're going to cover and that little agreement.
Yeah.
And then there's ones like, well, that doesn't really, it's not worth our time to discuss it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. In those situations. If you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with attorney Joe Cairns. He's a legal contributor here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're talking about family law, divorce, those scenarios that play out. And a lot of times, speaking of real estate, there's a home that's involved. Is it just depending on the family dynamic? Does the mother stay with the children in the family home? A certain percentage of the time, they're going to be selling that asset because it might be too much of a mortgage payment to handle. What do you see playing out there when it comes to real estate?
The first answer is who can afford it.
Right.
Because if no one can afford it, we're going to sell it.
Right.
And it's not like when I started practicing, when everything seemingly was in foreclosure, it wasn't a matter of who was going to take the house. It was like, will the bank give us a short sale?
Right.
Now it's, okay, who can someone afford it? Okay, is this person going to get alimony? So maybe they can afford it. Or sometimes as a component of child support, someone can keep the house, and then when the children reach the age of 18, then we'll sell it and we'll figure out some sort of breakdown of how that property gets divided.
Right.
So you can tie up the equity sometimes. And then, there's kind of a myriad of different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
But typically, you start with, okay, can we afford it? We try to keep the kids in the same house because they already know that their parents are breaking up.
Yeah.
So the concept of sameness is something that the court is certainly going to consider and should consider.
Right.
Because, now we're shaking up their entire world. Because then a move can mean changing of schools.
Yep.
My mom, she's 70 years old. She still talks about having to move her junior year. It stung. It stung a little bit.
Isn't it funny? Yeah, we go back to those places in time where it's, man, that made an impact on her life.
And if she hears the show, she'll call me and go, how would you like it if you had to?
If you had to move when you're in a team. Yeah, I get it. I understand. Yeah, I could see that. That's a big change for children, especially. Now, do you incorporate or do you have referral sources in your network for people to talk to, the children, for therapists to talk to, the children, or even, is that part of the dynamic sometimes, or is there part of counseling that's
usually, there's the collaborative divorce process, which usually tries to bring in the professionals like immediately.
Right.
Sometimes that works for certain families, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
But it is a great process because it does get into the therapy and problem solving more than just let's go to court and see if we can't just hash this out.
Yeah.
It depends on if your clients have this concept of there can be something that can be won.
Right.
But yes, there's a slew of therapists that we use. There's certain mediators I use for certain cases, some that are better with finances, some that are better with child-related issues.
Right.
There are addiction specialists. There's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, interesting. All right, we want you reaching out to attorney Joe Cairns here in Tampa Bay. Your office, where are you located at, Joe?
I am not too far from Clearwater Beach, so I am technically in Largo, but I'm on the corner of West Bay and Clearwater Largo Road. It's the 801 West Bay building.
Okay. And what's your website?
It's cairnslaw.com, and it's spelled CAIRNS.
Cairnslaw.com, consumerqb.com as well. You can find all his contact information on our website, consumerqb.com. All right, we got about a minute left in this segment. I want to bring in Eunice Halstead and kind of give us a little teaser of what we're going to talk about, what kind of ideas our listeners should be considering when it comes to auto.
Okay, so I just want to mention that in Florida, we have a population of 21 million people. At least half of those are registered vehicle owners. And auto insurance rates are going up this year. So I just wanted to talk about that and the reasons why and what most people are doing and what they should be doing.
Yeah. So what is some of the reasons why rates are going up? More accidents, a higher density of population? So
last year, most insurance companies reported a bad year of profitability. So they need to make money. All businesses need to make money.
Yep.
So in order to bring up their profits, they're going to be raising rates.
Right. All right, raising rates. The insurance company's going to be raising rates. Find out what you need to know about auto insurance when we come back here with Eunice Halstead. And also our feel-good story of the week. We got a Husky rescues woman who injured herself while hiking alone in Alaska. Interesting story here coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. More from our expert contributors on the other side of this break. Got a short break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out our book on Amazon, Become the MVP in Your Industry by Surfing the Radio Waves. We'd love for you to check out our book on Amazon, buy a copy, and leave a review. We'd really appreciate that. And we're back here in studio helping you win in any marketplace. Attorney Joe Cairns in the house, family law attorney, and Eunice Halstead, insurance risk specialist as well. We're going to be talking about auto insurance here. I want to let you know about a hot property listing here, 3911 West Euclid Avenue in South Tampa. This is in the Plant High School District, one of the most sought after school zones in all of Tampa Bay. Just listed, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story home in the South Tampa area. Over 4,000 square feet, beautiful property, 10 10-foot ceilings throughout, and it is reduced down to $837,000. Beautiful listing, compliments of Platinum MVPRealty.com. And we're back here in studio. We're going to help you win. We have our feel good story of the week coming up as well. And let's give a shout out to the Hotel Zamora on St. Pete Beach. Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora, is our official hotel partner in St. Pete Beach. It's a beautiful place. You got the restaurant on site, the Castile restaurant, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You've got the rooftop 360 lounge. They throw weddings and parties up there on the rooftop, and you've got gorgeous views overlooking the Intercoastal Waterway. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on 20% discount over at Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora, St. Pete Beach. And you're also going to get a bottle of wine and a charcuterie platter in your room. Compliments of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, Eunice Halstead in the house. We've got Insurance Risk Specialist is the company located on Hillsborough Avenue there in Tampa, and auto insurance. Man, just between the break, John told a story about a rear end accident. The driver was uninsured. The situation was pretty bad. I mean, it happens every day. We see a lot of it, and you brought some interesting statistics in today as well when you think about all the auto accidents that happen out there.
So let's talk about some of those statistics.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like I mentioned before, the population of Florida is 21 million.
Mm-hmm.
At least 15 million of those are registered vehicles, and that was in 2014. So I'm guessing that at this point in time, with the amount of people migrating to Florida, that has probably increased.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, there were 387,900 crashes. But remember that automobile insurance is not only about collisions. It covers for other damages to your vehicles.
Thefts and stuff like that.
Yes. And so we had Matthew and other storms that went by, the floodings. All of that has to be covered or considered when you're talking about what companies have paid out for auto claims. So there's been a lot of situations that have made insurance be not profitable when it comes to automobile.
Yeah, tree limbs falling on cars, the water rising, causing the flood, the cars to flood out on the inside.
Yeah, sometimes when that car is flooded up on the inside, it becomes a total loss. If it ruins everything.
Yeah, especially a lot of the electrical systems in the car, yeah.
So when we're talking about crashes, last year, March had the highest total of car accidents, 37,395. Drivers 65 and over had almost double the accidents of drivers that are 15 to 19. Many of the causes of accidents are poor weather conditions, because here in Florida, we get a storm when you least expect it.
Right.
You have the distracted drivers. I see people all the time looking at their phones, trying to drive while they're texting or talking on the phone with the phone hanging from their shoulder.
Getting the crank neck going.
Yeah.
So let me stop you there. That's an interesting stat. It almost makes you want to call up your congressman or whoever, talk about 65 years of age, they're having double the accidents, seniors, and not to pick on our seniors, but the numbers show statistics. We need to act on these statistics and see, and then from kids, so they had double the accidents of kids 15 to 19 years old did our seniors. 65 years and older. Maybe there needs to be, some kind of a retesting in place. They got to retest for their driver license.
Probably. Well, for example, my driver's license was issued in 2016 and it expires in 2025. So that's a long period of time to have a driver's license. And if they're doing the same thing for seniors, you can issue them a driver's license when they're in their early 60s, where they're still doing well.
Right.
And 20 years later, they're still driving with the same driver's license, and it's not so good.
Wow, that's interesting. I bet the insurance lobby, may bring something like that to ballot. I mean, that seems like it would make sense.
I mean, the majority of our residents are retired.
Yeah.
At least in this area.
Yeah, a lot of the Floridians. That's the way. That's the way it goes here in the Sunshine State.
And
a lot of the demographic.
Even I, at my age, sometimes have trouble seeing at night. So imagine a senior driver trying to drive at night, maybe with bad weather conditions, and maybe not completely in his mind. It's just the perfect scene for an accident.
Well, we know the seniors probably aren't texting or Facebooking while they're driving.
You'd be surprised.
That's one thing, really.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Well, you think they're at least less doing that, but yeah, it's like they're getting confused. They're confused behind the wheel. They're not seeing as well. They're maybe mixing up the brake and the gas pedal is what someone said here. So what else are you seeing out there in the auto space?
The drugs and alcohol, which is normal in most of the states.
Yeah.
So Florida law requires everyone, this is a requirement, this is a minimum requirement. Everyone who registers a vehicle has to maintain at least $10,000 of personal injury protection and $10,000 of property damage. That is nothing. The $10,000 of PIP, what it'll be broken into is medical expenses. Your death benefit is separate, so you get a $5,000 death benefit that is not included within those $10,000.
Okay.
And 60% of expenses from work loss. So if you couldn't go to work because you got into this accident, you can claim up to 60% of your expenses. But all of that is up to the aggregate maximum of $10,000. So that's really nothing.
Wow, yeah, it's very low. So PIP stands for personal injury protection?
Correct.
Okay, so $10,000. Yeah, so what do you recommend people do? I think something that would be very smart is to get a review done. Pull out your policy. When's the last time you actually looked at your policy and saw what you had?
Yeah, that's one of the things. And in addition to getting just a minimum, get a real policy with real limits. Getting the minimum limits is not that great either. The minimum limits are $10,000 per person, $20,000 per accident, and $10,000 for property damage. Property damage means when you hit somebody else and damage their car, or if you run through somebody's home and damage their property, that's property damage. So imagine if you're driving around and you hit a Mercedes or you hit a Lamborghini. $10,000 is not going to do anything for you.
Yeah, and then that owner is going to turn around and sue you personally at some point, right?
Right.
That's why I don't park next to Brandon.
Yeah. When you have, but that's when you look at that, I mean, that's a real life scenario. Like once these insurance policies are exhausted, the people say, okay, who can I sue now? So maybe I'll sue the parking lot of the owner of the parking lot. Maybe I'll sue, they'll just start naming all types of people to attach to that lawsuit, and then they just kind of hope that somebody's going to come out of their pocket.
But if nobody is negligent other than them, and the accident happened in the middle of the street, who are you going to sue?
Right. Yeah.
The other issue is it's very important for people to carry, especially here, to carry uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage.
Right.
Because what that coverage does is it provides coverage for you and your passengers and your family in case the other driver doesn't have insurance or doesn't have enough insurance. And, if you have some serious injuries and you or your passengers or your family need to go to the hospital and you're out of work for a long time, and nobody else can pay you, then your policy will come and pay for your own injuries.
Yeah, we're talking with Eunice Halstead here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, insurance risk specialist. We're urging you to get a review of your policy, find out what you actually have as coverages before you run into this type of scenario. No pun intended there. But when it comes to uninsured motorists, that's a valid point. And here's another one. What if let's say you let someone else drive your vehicle? How does that play out?
Okay, so normally if you let somebody else drive your vehicle, they're driving it under your permission, they would be covered under your policy.
Okay, so they are covered. Okay, got it. All right, yeah, that's interesting. So, the automobile insurance, so you're saying that rates are rising.
Right.
So would it be, so I always say a review would be a great idea. Let's get a review done. Let's find out, what's in your current policy. What are the separate riders attached to that policy? Do you have your underinsured motorist? Do you have the PIP at proper rates? Let's have you reach out to 813-670-7372. Give us a call. Shoot a text message over if you'd like to get a free review. Eunice Halstead and her team, insurance risk specialists, they'll sit down with you. They'll review your policy, or you can just simply fax it in, email it over. I'm sure she would review that for you and let you know where your weaknesses are, where your weak points are, and maybe poke some holes in your current policies. Property casualty insurance, auto insurance. We're going to talk about cyber as well coming up. So stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. And we're talking with Eunice Halstead here, insurance risk specialist, talking about automobiles, talking about ways that you can protect your assets, protect yourself. We talked about some stats with the number of accidents that we're seeing out here in the Tampa Bay market. I want to give a shout out to Brio Tuscan Grill, International Plaza. Our official restaurant partner is Brio Tuscan Grill, 2223 Northwest Shore Boulevard. They got a Saturday and Sunday morning brunch going on now, and they have a special going on for all of our listeners. All you have to do is mention that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show, and they're going to hook you up with a free appetizer. So they've got some great appetizers there: shrimp, the spicy shrimp and eggplant, the calamari, beef carpaccio. Some really good food over there. Check them out at Brio Tuscan Grill. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on that free appetizer offer. All right, we're back here in studio helping you win. We got our feel-good story of the week coming up. I want to go back to Eunice Halstead here, though, and just kind of talk a little bit more about the auto side of the business.
So I wanted to give some tips on how to get the best rate and how to maintain your best rate. It's very important that you don't let your policies lapse. Once you let your policy lapse and you have to buy a new one, it's going to be double as expensive. That lapse is going to cost you a lot of money.
Why is that? They just locking you into brand new rates versus kind of being grandfathered in or something?
Well, that's probably part of it, but they want to see continuity of coverage. Most companies want to see that you've maintained coverage continuously for a certain amount of months, or at least while you've been driving. And if they see that you drop your insurance every once in a while, they don't want that kind of insured.
Yeah, I wonder why. What are they thinking? Wow, this person doesn't have money to pay the policy
That's
premium?
part of it. That was the second issue.
Yeah.
Your credit score here, and other states have banned this, but Florida still uses your credit score to calculate your insurance premium.
Wow.
So if you have a bad credit score, that is going to affect you. So keep that in mind when you're getting high insurance premiums. Part of it has to do with things that you can manage yourself. So make sure that you maintain a good credit score, try to be a responsible driver and not have accidents, and also maintain that coverage continuation.
Yeah, that's interesting. Using the credit score, I guess. What's the moral dilemma there? I mean, some states don't do it. Florida does. Is it just kind of a, people need to have it. So should they be able to pull credit, and should that dictate the amount of policy premium?
Well, in other states, they've decided that it's not appropriate to use somebody's credit against them when they're calculating their insurance premiums. Florida is not one of those states. So that is something that if I had the opportunity, I would go and lobby against it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the right thing to do, but that's the way it is currently.
Yeah, I agree with you. It shouldn't. I don't think it really should matter much about your credit score. It's you're insuring an asset. You're insuring a vehicle. What does my personal credit have to do with that?
I think that insurance companies look at it as to how responsible you are.
Yeah, ability to repay.
Ability to repay, ability to pay your premiums.
Yeah.
How responsible you are with the things that you own. Are you overextending yourself?
Sure.
Can you have a reason to commit a crime? Like, let's say, okay, so I can no longer pay for my car insurance, so let me burn it.
Yep, I get it.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, and they started doing a lot of this too in the from the financial standpoint. A lot of these banks, these companies, they see, oh wow, now he's spending a lot of money on alcohol. He's going to the bar. He might be going to the strip club. We're gonna shut this guy's cards down. I mean, that's going on too now, right? I mean, it's part of the society that we live in. They're seeing your spending habits. They know what you're doing. They know. So it's interesting when you look at that and see how transparent our world is, especially the financial side.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our feel good story of the week. We have a feel good every day. We're going to tell you something positive. We got our tell me something good here.
Tell me something good.
All right, so we got a husky that rescues a woman who injured herself while hiking alone in Alaska. So this husky's being credited with helping a rescued hiker injured herself along Crow Creek Trail in a state park in Alaska. He's Alaska's version of Lassie, it says. So a hiker slipped and fell. The dog was able to save her and get back to shore, Olson said. Amelia Mealing said she set out Monday afternoon and planned 3-day hike. Things were fine until she reached the pass where she encountered more snow than she expected. I'm a Southerner, so I wasn't expecting the snow, Milling said. She goes on to say how she lost her trekking poles and she tried to slide down a long snow slope. She hit a rock that launched her into the air. I felt like I was flying, she said. When she landed, sliding another 200 feet in the snow, she was banged up in shock. That's when the dog arrived, seemingly out of nowhere. My first response was, "Where's the owner?" She said, then I saw the collar and said the dog, Nanook, was a Crow Pass guide, and I realized that he was there to help me. So pretty cool story. He ends up, that's quite a longer one here, but he's going on and he's talking about how the pair walked for the Ford Side Eagle River. Milling said she struggled with the swift cold water and tried to find a better place to cross. That proved to be a mistake, as the spot she chose was too deep. Fell in, grabbing her unbuckled backpack, she floated in the river. Milling said she struggled to return to shore when Nanook jumping in to grab her pack and help her out of the freezing water. Nanook was licking her face and pushed out the emergency locator and waited for help to arrive. This is the second time I've heard of he has saved someone from drowning in that river, he said. Swift said Nookie, whom adopted about 6 years ago, and no research and rescue training. He just does it on his own, Swift said. As for Milling, she has some bruises and otherwise okay, and she thinks that Nanook was instrumental in keeping her alive while on the trail, and she's always had a special bond with him. I believe the dog is a guardian angel, she said. So pretty cool story. Yeah.
So the moral of the story that I got is if you root for an SEC school, take some buddy with you if you're hiking in Alaska.
Okay. Yeah. Rooting for an SEC school, take your buddy with you. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. You got to be careful up there, man. You hear stories about that. I'm a Southerner, she said, and a little bit cooler. She didn't expect the snow, but feel good story. All right. Let's jump into our lightning round.
The lightning round.
I am so good at lightning rounds.
I majored in lightning rounds.
All right. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Attorney Joe Cairns.
We talked about auto insurance, and you need a license to drive. With social media, if you can't use it appropriately, it's not going to be necessarily taken away from you. I'm a big supporter of freedom of speech, but those things can be used against you,
right?
Taken out of context.
Yes.
If you don't think that you can keep it under control, because we're talking about family law cases, those are high stress environments.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't do it, then maybe you should just deactivate it.
Right.
Because you can blow up in your house and no one will necessarily know about it. You blow up online, it's forever.
Everybody's going to see it.
So think very carefully about how much you actually need that as an outlet, because the person that you were before you started your divorce may be a little bit different than the person who's going through the divorce because of the stress levels associated with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. And how important it is it to actually post? In a lot of cases, if you're not promoting your business or you're not making something, some key connections, how important is it that you really posted your lunch online, or you said whatever you're going to Friday night?
I wish it was just the lunch. I could deal with the lunch. Who's gonna? Your Honor, he's obviously a carb guy.
Yeah.
So I deal with that. It's when something blows up and their first reaction is not to just like take a breath or call a friend. It's, you know what? I'm going to get on the internet and I'm going to let everybody know.
I'm going to post about what she did, what he did. They're going to let them know. Take it out online.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Good stuff. Joe Cairns, attorney Joe Cairns. All right. Eunice Halstead, insurance risk specialist.
Okay. So I wanted once again to mention cyber liability. Last year, businesses lost over $87 billion to data breach and cyber hacks. That is the new thing. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. In fact, my mother got hacked a couple of weeks ago, and they lost all their work. They lost all their finances, all their taxes, and it's been a nightmare for her since. My agency specializes in helping you prepare and get proper insurance for when you get hacked. So don't wait until it happens. Let's talk beforehand, and we'll help you be set up and prepared.
Yeah. When that happens, cybersecurity, $87 billion, Eunice just said, was the effects of cybersecurity breaches.
Yes.
And that's a lot of money. I mean, that's the GDP of a small country. I mean, that's a lot of money when it comes to that. So Eunice Halstead, insurance risk specialist, property casualty insurance on your home. She can handle your automotive. She can handle cybersecurity business risk as well. And what I like about your model is that you are essentially a broker. You can shop and find the best possible rates. You're not just tied to one particular company.
That's correct.
Yeah. So that's a model that's going to enable you to get better rates and be able to shop. So it's not like the customer has to contact certain people. They have to call this company, that company, that company. With one call, that essentially
we take care of it for them.
We'll do it all.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so Eunice, we got about a minute left here. Parting words, anything else you want to add today?
Drive carefully. Make sure you have that auto insurance in place.
Yeah.
It's about your family and your assets and your security. And not everyone out there has insurance. People are out there driving like maniacs, and they either have the PIP and PD or the minimum limits, and that's not going to cover you in case they have an accident with you.
That's right.
So you got to watch out for yourself.
Protect your assets. Reach out to Eunice Halstead and her team, insurance risk specialist, consumerqb.com. You can find all the contact information of our expert contributors, consumerqb.com, and you have our hotline as well available as a resource. I want to thank attorney Joe Cairns, family law attorney, divorce attorney, Eunice Halstead as well. Thanks for coming in. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food, some clothing, hand it to that person that you see in need. Be a force for good in the community. Do something kind for one another. And follow us online at facebook.com/Consumer Quarterback Show, Brandon Rhymes PA, Instagram and Twitter at Brandon Rhymes 1. We'd love to follow and have you, engage with us. Let us know how we can help you. And please go out there and make it a great day. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.